And welcome into another post-game edition of Spits and Suds. I'm Gavin Spittle of 105.3 The Fan. Thank you so much for your support and for joining us. Stars, unfortunately, their second straight loss on the road, this time in Buffalo, as the Stars, it's just one of those things. They lose 4-2, late empty net goal by the Sabres, but it was 3-0 Sabres. Stars had to play catch up. And really, this game kind of flipped and was decided in the second period. 2 goals by the Sabres, and a vicious one-timer by Tage Thompson in the third. Those 2 goals by the Sabres in the second period were 1 minute, 23 seconds apart. And that essentially was the game. But the Stars try to come back in the final minutes. 2 goals in 2 minutes, 24 seconds. First, Thomas Harley deflecting off a Sabre. And it's one of my points of tonight as far as that first goal by Dallas. Desperation times create havoc in front of the net, and we all know havoc is a good thing. And I just felt as though, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen played well tonight, but the guy has nearly a 3.3 goals against, and I just feel as though you didn't put enough sustained pressure on him. Specifically, you didn't really have that net presence. And we continue, I feel like a broken record at a time. I love doing these podcasts with you guys, but I just feel like I talk about the same things over and over. And I'm like, man, Gavin, is it something else you can point out? But the reality is I just keep taking notes on the same thing. And I understand the Stars are off to a great start, but sustained pressure in front of the net and power play seems like we talk about over and over again. Let me give you an example. Less than 30 seconds into the game, Stars putting some pressure on the Sabres and Luukkonen. Really, really excited to see the Duchesne, Seguin, and Marchment line back together. So Tyler Seguin gets the rebound after a shot. And this is, to me, what the Stars need to change. Rather than Seguin trying to jam it home, granted it was from the corner, he is just a few feet away from the goal, but instead he attempts to pass it in front of the crease, kind of a low pass percentage play. Marchment can't handle it. It's broken up. Marchment on the Stars' second power play, driving to the net alone, has a clear shot on Luukkonen. Like, once again, just like Seguin, it is coming from the corner. However, sometimes you're not just shooting on the net to score. Shoot on the net to draw a rebound. And you had net front presence, but what does he do? He tries once again to pass across the crease unsuccessfully. And I just feel as though the Stars are looking, and they did this against Edmonton as well, when you just want to yell, shoot the puck, because I just feel as though they're trying to hit that perfect pass time and time again, rather than just go out there and just be yourself. And honestly, if I'm Pete DeBoer, I said, let's go back to basics, gentlemen. Okay. And some strong words for Pete DeBoer after the game tonight, and we'll get to that in a second. But I just want the Stars to pepper a goalie and create rebounds. So if I'm Pete DeBoer, I'm like, here's the strategy tonight. So let's just say they're playing Jeremy Swayman on Thursday night. I want 40 shots on net or come close to that. And no matter what it takes, I want you guys in the dirty area. And let's go back to the basics of hockey, because this power play has the team questioning itself. And I do think that it's carrying over to a lack of scoring as far as the Stars when it's 5-on-5. It comes in spurts. It came in spurts against Edmonton, and now it came in spurts with 2 goals in just over 2 minutes tonight. We also have a roller coaster of momentum that's been happening after the first few games. And what I mean by that is the Stars against the Capitals. Stars came out big in the first period. And then about a quarter way through the second period, I felt as though Capitals controlled the game. It was a Harley Heiskanen turnover. And from there, I just felt as though the game was lopsided. And the Capitals went on to win. Then we go back to the AAC in Edmonton. And I felt as though for about a period and a half, Edmonton dominated that game. And then the Stars turn it on and they end up beating Edmonton. A nice win, but you did kind of scratch your head and say, how did we win that game? I mean, granted, you're going against the Western Conference champions, you're going against Connor McDavid, but once again, you just say to yourself, was that a dominant performance? In spurts, yes, great third period. And then we move to tonight. And the Stars out of the gates, pretty rare, out of the gates early, feeling good. And then Buffalo in the second period scores those two goals. And for most of the third period, I felt as though, yeah, Stars got some on net, but it wasn't like a true dominant performance. And Pete DeBoer, after the game, with some strong words, quote, I thought they were hungrier than us. They blocked more short shots. They won more battles, won more faceoffs. Tough to go on the road and win if you're not as desperate as the other team. Jamie Benn, after the game, asked about the power play. It's on us, the players, not winning the puck battles. Pete DeBoer later thought Buffalo executed. We did not. And when asked about those three players returning, and these are three very important players, Tyler Seguin, Sam Steele, and Matt Dumba. Matt Dumba playing, your top defensive pair. Sam Steele, very important as far as the penalty kill and playing on that fourth line. And Tyler Seguin did have a goal tonight. And Pete DeBoer was asked about their impact. And basically, I'm kind of paraphrasing here. He thought everyone on the team needed to be better, minus Jake Ottinger. So it really comes down from what Pete DeBoer is saying to an effort performance. And you could tell Pete DeBoer was a little upset after the Washington game, and you felt as though Pete DeBoer was upset after this game. I think Pete DeBoer knows this was two winnable games, and had they put in a sustained effort, that they would at least have a point out of this game and a point out of Washington. Now, is it panic central mode time? It's not panic central mode time, and hopefully they can figure it out. But I will say, in a short period of time, you are showing a pattern. The issue that is a longer period of time is the power play. We saw the power play struggle late in the year last year. We definitely saw it struggle in the playoffs. It continued in the preseason. And I myself said it's the preseason. You don't have the same five guys. You're trying out different guys. So you have to wait until special teams plays on a regular basis. Well, now special teams are playing on a regular basis. It's not a situation of talent when you throw out there a Sagan, a Ben, and Heiskanen, and Harley, and Marchment, and Duchesne, and Johnston. So clearly your best players are out there. But this power play right now is 29th in the league, 2 for 21. Let's dive deeper. Your power play shot percentage, 10%. That's 24th in the league. Your power play shots per game. And this is what, to me, is the biggest flag. 2.86 shots per game, 29th in the league. Okay, so basically it's shots per game, not shots per power play. And you're averaging only less than 3 shots. To me, that's an issue. You're having trouble getting into the zone. You're not winning puck battles, as Jamie Benn mentioned. And if I'm pointing a finger, which we have to do, unfortunately, on this podcast, I'm a big Miro Heiskanen fan. But I'm going to raise my hand and point out Miro Heiskanen. I know it's early. But when you look at this Stars team as far as depth scoring, think about how many minutes Miro Heiskanen plays in a game. And one of the things that we talk about is to win the Norris Trophy, you have to be more of an offensive player. You have to be good defensively, but offense clearly catches the attention of the voters. 7 games, 0 points. Think how much Miro is on the ice. In fact, I can tell you how much Miro is on the ice. He's averaging 2 seconds under 25 minutes a game, and he has 0 points. He needs to be better. I'm sure he knows he needs to be better. Same thing with Thomas Harley, because when you're getting that quarterback play from the point and the distribution is clean and there is a threat from that point that you have to back off because this player is a great passer and they have a clean shot. And what I mean by a clean shot is a shot that can be threatening at any time with pinpoint accuracy. And there are defensemen like this in the league. That backs off that point defender. Next time you watch teams against the Stars, and if you want to go back, watch Buffalo tonight. Look how aggressive they are as far as penalty killing and going after the players. They're not backing down into a box format or, trying to prevent and kind of create a lot of passing. They're going after the players, which means there's a game plan in place and they're saying, prove that you can crisp pass and prove that if we create pressure on you, you can break that pressure for clear shots on the power play. Because what they're saying is we're going to attack the puck. We're going to attack the players. You're going to create a mistake. We're either going to go the other way and try to create a shorthanded opportunity, but we're definitely going to clear the puck. You have to trust me on this. Watch the Stars power play, and you'll see the havoc that ensues. I understand they might be a little unlucky as far as the puck's not going in the net. But when your coach is talking about effort so early in the season, and when your captain's also talking about effort so early in the season, it's really a look in the mirror time for these Dallas Stars as far as power play efficiency, because right now it's certainly not there. You guys sent a lot of tweets tonight, and let's get to them. You guys are always so great as far as the interactivity. A couple of notes for you. First, did an awesome podcast today with Jeff Kay, the PA announcer of your Dallas Stars. He'll be heading to Finland with the team for the NHL Global Series. 2 nice tilts against the Stanley Cup champions, November 1st and 2nd. One will be a home game. One will be an away game. Stars, Florida Panthers. Lots of Finland representation in this game, which is awesome. And it's going to be really, really cool. It's kind of like the All-Star game coming to Finland. So Jeff was talking about that and being named the PA announcer for both games. So we had a lot of fun. Jeff has some amazing stories, and it's really, really cool. He takes us behind the curtain as far as when the Stars or another team scores, the process in which announcing the goal. And when you hear what happens as soon as a goal is scored, you are going to say to yourself, so, because I always wondered, like, so why does it sometimes take 90 seconds to 2 minutes? And I'll be honest with you, when I don't know something on this podcast, I'm just going to ask it, because I feel as though if I don't know it, then there's a good chance some of you out there don't know it. And the theme of this podcast is to grow this great game together. And Jeff Kay explaining it, the process is about 4 deep before he can go. and announce a goal. And he takes us through that process. And I thought that was really fascinating. He's extremely entertaining. He has some amazing stories throughout his years as the Dallas Stars PA announcer, Dallas Cowboys PA announcer. So a great chat with Jeff K. The other thing that we'll be releasing along with this post game pod is we're going to do a Bruins preview. We when we can do those, we think they're a lot of fun. And joining us from Odyssey's The Skate podcast, a great representative. So if you have a chance, give a listen to that as we get you ready for Stars and Bruins on Thursday. A little bit of a situation brewing as far as Jim Montgomery and the veterans on this team, former Stars head man. So we get into that a little bit as well. So if you get a chance, listen to Jeff K, listen to the Stars Bruins preview, and we're trying to bring as many podcasts to you as possible. Some of you have already listened to the Jeff K podcast. A lot of positive feedback on that. So we truly appreciate it. I will also raise my hand and say, because a couple of you have asked, what makes Spits and Suds successful? Well, we go by the statistical data of downloads. So anytime you, and I will encourage this, I am a total shill. If you want to hit download, press play, and walk away, that helps me. So thank you so much for doing that. I want you to listen, of course, but that's what we go by because some of you guys have asked, and we go by downloads, and we would love to get as close to 200,000 downloads as possible. Last year, we had 109 downloads. I'm being completely honest. And we're trying to get as close as possible to about 200,000. I think we're on goal for about 160, 170,000. 20,000 a month as far as downloads would be an amazing contribution by you guys, the Stars fans. So that's kind of pulling back the curtain as far as this podcast is concerned. Millsy at Newey fan says, disappointing result, but not a terrible performance. I feel like if the power play was just average, the team would be even harder to beat. They had some bad puck luck, but the power play has to get fixed if the team wants to accomplish their goals. Yeah, I agree, Millsy. They certainly need to get better on the power play. We've talked about that. Number one power play in the NHL right now, and it is early. But the Winnipeg Jets, we talk about success. Right now, their power play percentage at 43.8%. That is tops in the league as Winnipeg, surprisingly, is out of the gates fast in the Central Division. So that's kind of interesting that Winnipeg and Utah are leading the way along with the Stars. Tim says, at Stars fan Tim, getting out of the zone has been an issue on the road. Is it time to panic? Not time to panic, but a time to be better. And I think the first thing is you need to win the corners. You need to win the puck battles. You have to fight. And that's basically what Pete DeBoer was alluding to tonight. And you have to match the intensity of the home team. I thought Edmonton, for a good period and a half, matched the intensity of the Stars the other night. You watch that first period, Edmonton dominated. And that's what I'd kind of like to see the Stars do on the road. They have the ability to dominate, and you really haven't seen that on a consistent level. So if they can do that, and that's why I'm saying get back to the basics, win the faceoffs. You are or were last year one of the best face-off percentage teams in the NHL. So the ability is there. Aaron Thackman, just need to start figuring out power play because if you could have scored on two of them, you would have a shot. Also, I am surprised by the lack of dirty goals with the redirection so far this season. Yeah, you can kind of feel the Joe Pavelski loss regular season wise. And I know he slowed down toward the end of the season and into the playoffs. We all readily admit that. But the one thing Joe Pavelski could do is be effective in that dirty area, especially for a guy his size. The Stars need to do more of that. They're looking for that perfect pass. The dirty area is the toughest area because it requires getting beat up and it requires effort. And that's why at times you see teams with lack of a net front presence. It's not easy, to get into position. And remember, the Stars are not one of those teams that provide a lot of sustained zone time, and it takes time to get net front positioning. So hopefully they can improve upon that. Harder than the truth at then underscore truth says, do you view this roster as currently constructed good enough to make a deep run and win a ring? Heading into the season, I felt we would be very competitive in the regular season, but didn't quite have the right ingredients to truly contend and make it deep into the playoffs. It really is a great question. I think the sample size right now, Harder, is a little bit too small. I like to make that decision personally about a quarter into the season. And I'm not trying to avoid your question. I just think we don't have a big enough sample size. As of right now, yes, I believe they need to add some pieces. But I'll add that as of right now, I'm not receiving key contributions from key players. Wyatt Johnston off to a slow start this year. I've mentioned Miro Heiskanen off to a slow start. Have they had depth scoring? Yes, they have. Has the fourth line bailed them out a lot and been good? Yes, it has. But there's something that's not clicking with a lot of the Stars players. So hopefully they can get going. As I mentioned on a previous podcast, remember what Wyatt Johnston did to start 2024. The end of 2023 was Not Wyatt Johnston's best, and we were talking about a sophomore slump. And then as of January 1st through the rest of last season, he turned it on and was one of the better players in the NHL. But pieces always help, in the Stars the last couple of seasons, whether it's Domi, whether it's Dodonov, whether it's Tanev. Those have been great additions by Jim Nill, and they haven't had to give up a lot. Krista DeVarty says, power play, power play, power play. Not much else needs to be said. I absolutely agree. Chris Stabkoven, I think it's time we have a talk about Harley. He's supposed to be our second best defenseman, but he's playing like our worst defenseman. And this started last year before the playoffs and into the playoffs. Should we be concerned about him? I wouldn't say use the term concern. I would say that we need to have a watchful eye on Thomas Harley. Little bit extra pressure tonight. The Syracuse native, it's right next door to Buffalo, had a lot of people in attendance. So just like Jake Ottinger will be up for the game on Thursday playing at Boston University. Um, certain players get up for certain teams. Blackwell is a Massachusetts native. So will he be up on the fourth line and buzzing on Thursday? He's going to try his best. So when players enter their domain, another example is Ottinger in Minnesota, as he grew up in the Minneapolis, St. Paul suburb. They're going to be up. And, maybe that was the cause of Harley a little bit. But I don't disagree with you, Chris. I would just say this. If I'm going to criticize 55, I think some of us need to criticize 4. I think we love 4. I think we know the talent is there for 4. And do I still think what I want 4 on my team every day of the week? Yes. But I think this podcast is meant to have an objective point of view. And I think Miro needs to be better, needs to be more offensive minded. I just feel as though he's been in a slump to start the year. Harper hockey fan, otherwise known as Jordan from the Great North in Canada. I just watched the last few minutes, but it was great to see 91 score. Team really needs Tyler to have a strong season. Yeah, it's great to have him back. I think he provides a lot. I think he's become a very good two-way player late in his years. Is he the same Tyler Seguin that was drafted 1-2 overall? Drafted second, Taylor Hall first that year by the Boston Bruins. Taylor was drafted by Edmonton, Seguin by the Bruins, and then came here and had some amazing seasons. Yeah, he's not the same player. but I love the adaptation of Tyler Seguin we've seen as far as being a better defensive forward. I think a lot of credit goes to the Ken Hitchcock system, albeit it was 1 year. But I thought John Klingberg at the time and Tyler Seguin became better defensive players. All right. Trade Matt Dumba. I agree with Tyler, Gavin. Nils looked better than Dumba tonight by a long shot. There was a specific moment in the second period where Dumba moved up into the offensive zone, which allowed like 2 or 3 Sabres to get behind him. Then Nils' next shift, he's out hitting guys. I think that Nils Lundkvist has been really good this year. I'm glad the team has noticed it. I see his minutes going up, but the biggest thing, we haven't seen Nils Lundkvist as far as a healthy scratch, and that's a good sign. I think the more Nils is playing, the more confidence he has and not necessarily afraid as much to make a mistake. And when you look at it right now, small sample size, that is a very good signing by Jim Nill. A very good signing to get a defenseman who's playing in your top 6 at that salary. Very, very good. Okay. And that follows up Tyler. I should have read Tyler's tweet first. Am I insane for feeling like Nils was really good tonight? Feels like he has really taken a step forward in the beginning of the season. Yeah, once again, Tyler, I agree. At Crow Wi-Fi, I know DeBoer and Steve Spott are really close, but this power play sucks. And that's Ron from Tyler, Texas, otherwise known as Crow Wi-Fi. Listen, I'm just going to say this. Look up the statistical data of Vegas power play when those two were with Vegas. And I'm just going to leave it at that. But if Jamie Benn is calling out the players to be better on the power play, then I will allow the players to fix it, because he's right. They're not winning the corner battles. They got to put in a little bit more effort. They got to play harder. That said, this is a continuing theme on this podcast. So those are some amazing questions, and I appreciate it. And we will be back on Thursday. Once again, if you have a chance, listen to the Jeff K interview. And also, if you want to support the program, listen to the Stars Bruins preview that we're going to release momentarily. So that's a lot of fun. Once again, we teamed up with Odyssey's The Skate Podcast in Boston, Scott McLaughlin, to bring you that interview. And if you get a chance and you listen on Apple, for example, and you want to leave a review, that would be wonderful. And any chance on any social site, you have the chance to spread the word about Spits and Suds. I probably don't do a good enough job as far as urging you to support the program and urging you to activate the program. So I'm doing that tonight. I love you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. The numbers coming in are amazing. We're having a record year. We're just trying to build something special, and we're trying to create this forum for Stars fans. And I love it when you guys respond to my tweet and ask great questions and throw out your opinions. So we'll be back with another episode soon. And of course, we'll be back after Thursday night. It's Stars and Bruins. Unfortunately, the Stars fall tonight, but that's okay. Another chance at the Garden on Thursday in Boston. I'm Gavin Spittle. Thank you so much for listening to Spits and Suds and supporting 105.3 The Fan. Have a great day, everyone.